But the simple reality is,
They won't.
statistically speaking, it's not looking too good. But
They'll give up halfway through.
here's the thing. How many sets of bench press are those people used to in the previous month?
0.
0.
There we go. So literally just unracking that empty bar and doing a rep. We can't even say what percentage of the difference it is because you went from 0 to a billion because anything divided by 0 is just infinity. Okay? So therein lies the issue is we have college athletes that show up to play a sport here in the fall. So Emily, obviously you pretty recent transfer in here. And you had actually been in a previous program, so you're probably used to some weight training, right? How many of you guys have got teammates that never touched a weight before they showed up here in the fall? It's usually not going to be many.
Yeah, 2.
But still, like those 2 girls never squatted with a barbell on your back.
Right.
And everybody, the first time they squat with a barbell on their back, the next day is a bad day. Or a great day, depending on how much you like soreness.
Pain.
But does that make sense? So the concept for you guys to keep in mind is what's known as chronic and acute training volume. Chronic training volume is how much your body is used to on a week-by-week basis over the past month. Acute training volume is how much work you've done over this week. Okay? So just to make life easy, today for me, or not today, on Monday, my squatting work was 5 actual heavy sets of 10 that counted, not including warm-ups, and then 5 sets of 10 with exercise known as Bulgarian split squats. So essentially it's 100 total reps of lower body because the legs are guilty and must be punished. Okay? Now, the previous week was a deload where I did only 3 sets of 5 in the one exercise and 3 sets of 10 in the other. So I did essentially 60% of the volume in one, and the other I was only doing essentially 30 to 40%. So this week hurt a lot because that was a lot more than what my body. What's up?
Ouch.
Indeed, but you get over it. So that's why you periodize your workouts, you change things up so that way you are getting a greater stimulus your body's adapt to, give yourself time, and then remodel. But so if I had never squatted before in my life, and then came in and did 5 sets of 10, and then did, So, not to pick on any athletes in the room since they're currently not under camera, but we will simply say there's sports that happen in the spring. So these athletes are going to train all the way through the fall semester, and then they're going to go home for winter break. Do 100% of the athletes home over winter break train? And how often is that apparent the first week they're back? Because they just get brutalized because they've gone back to their bodies unadapted, or not necessarily unadapted, I apologize, but the total training volume, what their body's used to, because they've been under training for the past week or past month, becomes readily apparent and they just get brutalized by the work. So does that make sense? We're looking for overtraining or overreaching compared to underreaching. Okay? Why we care about it? Because either way, we're getting a decline in performance. The problem with overreaching is, remember, it also comes in 2 different flavors. What are those 2 flavors, other than awful and nausea? Functional and non-functional overreaching. Functional overreaching is what I put myself through, which is you literally do more work than your body can adapt to. Does that make sense? You literally beat yourself down. So you then give yourself that deload so that way you can get better. Because the week before, I took that deload, I ended up doing 5 by 10 with an even heavier load that I did this past week, along with doing 5 by 10 with an even heavier load than I also did earlier this week. And then I gave myself a week off to feel better. Question?
No, I just feel like, does everybody work the same way? Or if somebody's overreaching and then, I don't know how to ask,
No. So Emily, I'm going to take a couple shots at it, let me know if I get to it. First and foremost, individuality. If we put everyone in this room on the same program, even if we still give, everyone's doing 70% of their max, okay? Some people, that 5 sets of 10 is going to equal overreaching for them because their body, that's too much volume. Other people are your natural workhorses. Those are the folks that 5 sets of 10 barely does anything to them. They might need 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 sets of 10 to really get tired. That's why we did that gym wear velocity relationship. Notice most people, they really didn't drop velocity too much. Most people are okay. Some people like ate it, meaning that their body is not, they're not ready to do that much work, or it's just that amount of work was enough to really start to induce some muscle damage. And if we induce muscle damage, which is the goal, the body's gonna get better from it, but if we induce too much, it takes us too long to come back, okay? So that's the first off, is we need to understand, like, some people can take more work than others, and that's a big individuality thing with the overreaching. The reason we do overreaching, the functional overreaching, is when athletes get to be so big or so strong, the only way to get stronger is to drive yourself into the ground. Meaning you not necessarily need to kill yourself with overtraining, but you have to do so much damage that it takes your body a while to fully recover. Okay? Think about the difference between an elephant and a mouse. Okay? A mouse, because it's so small, can adapt to things very rapidly because they don't have as many cells. They don't have as much size. So their body, their metabolic rate is naturally a lot higher. They adapt quickly. An elephant is a huge land mammal. It takes them a while to adapt. Because think about it. If you completely tear up your muscle, that muscle has to rebuild itself. Those cells individually have to rebuild themselves. And it's not like a muscle cell inside of a mouse is any bigger than a muscle cell inside of an elephant. The key difference is the elephant has a whole heck of a lot more of them, which means it requires a whole heck of a lot more nutrients to get them to recover. So that's why you see like bodybuilding not bros, but like the actual like pros, guys and gals, that talk about only training a muscle group once a week. Well, their muscles are so big, they have to do so much damage to get them to get any bigger, they pretty much need a week in between each because that's how much damage is required. Meanwhile, anyone that's not to that size, and I'm definitely included in that argument, you can train your muscle groups at least twice a week because they're going to recover a lot faster because they're obviously smaller and they don't have as great demands. So that's why you do that with some folks. So strength, I am relatively strong. So for me, I have to put myself through things that are very difficult that I wouldn't ask other people to do simply because you don't need to go and do the things I do simply because my body needs more damage in order to get you better. You know, it's kind of like when people first start working out, they can do push-ups and ride on a bike and their back squat and their bench press is going to go up. But once you get strong enough, it's time to start squatting. It's time to start doing other things because the other things that transfer over are not there anymore. So that kind of get up your one, that's good. So when it comes to body comp, okay, what's our goal if we're having somebody climbing mountains all day?
Well, you want to have some fat on them so they have those.
You want insulation because they're cold. They're going to be cold.
That'd be a trade-off because it's more weight. It's
Yeah,
not helping you
more
move.
You need
Yeah,
a
you
good
gotta-
balance.
Well, guys, this is kind of like getting back to the energy systems where this is where, okay, there's pretty obvious ones. Ultra lean, horrible choice.
Yeah, very
Not enough
bad.
reserves, anything happens, you're screwed.
Very, very
Absolutely.
bad. Very bad. I mean, you don't want them like,
Overweight, obese, too much extra
No.
weight,
Yeah,
not
exactly.
helping you move, it's gonna take away from your performance.
that's what I was trying to say by lean, not like, you know, I'm stepping on stage, but like, I was just clarifying my brain right there.
You're fine. You're fine. So this would be, if we're going categories, we're probably gonna be either on the low end of normal or somewhere in the lean category. Does that make sense? So then kind of ballparking where we want them to be, what would be the basic range, okay? Do we have a weight a standard that we want them to hit?
How tall are they?
I was going to say how tall.
Male or female?
Exactly, exactly. So for you guys, at the end of the day, your guiding principle when it comes to the body weight for your athlete is where do they perform the best,
Yeah.
okay?